Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Town of Rockland Board of Health meeting for Tuesday, April 26, 2022 at 6 p.m. Present is Cecilia DeRosa, Board of Health member, Michelle Kennedy, Board of Health member, and myself, Vice Chairman Christine Stewart. Also, we have Health Agent Delshawn Flip, Amy Phipps, Senior Administrative Assistant, and Janine Oliver, Junior Administrative Assistant, and Kathy Ryan, our Public Health Nurse. I'd like to first just get started by welcoming Michelle Kennedy, who's new to our board. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
And the first thing on our agenda is just going through our signatures. So we're going to do our bill vouchers, which these are. All right, they were in order. I don't think I have the vouchers, Delshawn.
Yep, they're the bill vouchers. They're the.
I have abatements.
Nope. Remember, it's the originals that are on top.
Yeah, I know. I have this.
Yep, those are them.
These.
Those are bill vouchers.
Oh, all right. We're counting these. All right. So
So
we
you
have.
just you're signing, approving, and signing.
Okay, so we're approving these. All right. So this is just for the trucking. So you're just gonna you'll just check it off. Check. You want to just check in here, make sure these are correct, and then you can give that a signature there.
Okay. What is Richard and Sons Trucking?
S&D Richards is.
All right.
They delivered compost to the recycling center. His invoice should be behind that.
What about SS Gymnastics refund?
Yep. It should say that.
Oh, is this for a camp?
That's not a camp.
Okay.
Okay.
So what happened? They paid for a permit?
In the past, they always came in and applied for permits. 2019,
Oh, here we go. Okay.
it was kind of like status quo. They got a 2019 camp permit. The more classes I attended, I realized that you had to do inspections on them. And COVID hit, and then there was no camps. And then now that camps are starting to come back, I took a webinar on camps and realized that they should be just considered doing summer programs. They're not an official camp.
Okay.
That's per the CMR 430, they don't meet the guidelines.
Okay.
So she doesn't need an inspection, she doesn't need a permit.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so we just have those two bills. Next is the, you know what, I'm going to let you look at that first, Cecilia, and make sure you didn't have any questions.
Thank you. The name, though, is No Bummer Summer Camp?
That's what her camp package was always.
Okay.
But she's not a camp, so she's not getting.
That's what she calls herself?
Yeah, her camp is called No Summer Bummer,
Okay.
out of South Shore Gymnastics.
What are the guidelines that make her not a camp, so I understand?
Her time frame, they don't go anywhere. She doesn't administer any medication. And, oh God, there's like a
What's
list
the
of them.
time
Is it like
frame?
a 2-hour-a-day program?
This is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's just 2 hours a day?
It's if
Probably
that,
between 12,
yeah.
yeah.
It's not a camp, like Hartsville Park is a camp. YMCA is an actual camp.
Do you have, did she turn in as part of her application the flyer for her camp? Or for this?
No,
Okay, we don't ask for that?
no.
Okay.
She's not a camp.
So what does she call herself now then?
A gymnastics. She
She
runs a
just gym.
gymnastics.
So like in the summertime, this summer bummer camp
It-
doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fine.
It's just gonna be a program.
Okay. Summer. There you go.
Okay. All right, so next we will go over the abatements. So we have these here. Okay. Thank you.
So how do we know, like, because obviously I'm new, how do we know it's vacant? We just take their word for it? Or
I
do they have to show
verify it,
proof? Oh,
yes,
okay.
they do. So behind all of the documents behind it
Yep.
shows that there's either minimal or no water
Water
usage,
usage. Okay.
consumption, and also I verify that they're either in renovations with the building department, or there was a fire, I check with the fire department. If they are snowbirds,
Yeah,
they need to provide a change of address with the post office and then give me a copy of it.
makes sense.
And then the drivers also are aware that these are vacant properties and not to service them.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to sign is the permits. We have a couple for animal and one for food. Pass that along.
Wasn't there one extra one that we did at the end by? We didn't. Oh, we didn't have to do it.
Okay.
There you go. Do the requests for these animal permits, do they come with like a map of the location of where they're gonna be housed on the property?
If they're brand new, yes.
Okay.
And then that's kept in the file.
Okay.
If they're just renewing it, no. And every November, Ian does the inspections.
Okay. Who's Ann?
Animal control officer.
Animal, okay.
That's food.
So I just need to stop you guys for real quick, because I know that you've gone through the vouchers. I don't know if there was any motion or approval done for each one.
No.
Sorry.
Okay, so, oh, thank you, because I,
So, yeah, you would have to go and
Okay.
say, you need a motion to accept the bill vouchers totaling the money.
for
and
each
then-
one?
No, totaling.
Oh, okay.
So you know that sheet that I gave you, the signature sheet, it
Yep.
says the total's like 4,000, like $5,000 for the bills.
Okay. So for the bill, okay, I see, for 5,000. Okay, so a motion to, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the weekly bills in the amount of $5,075.00.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the abatements for April 2022 for $1,802.75.
Motion.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The permits you don't have to vote on.
Thank you. Okay.
And then the approval of the minutes, I'm going to revise them. I can revise them and have them ready for you.
For the next meeting? Or we can?
Yeah, or we can table it, and then maybe when we come back from executive session.
Okay, we can do that. So do I need a motion to do that as well? Okay, so a
It might
motion.
just be safe.
Yeah, that's okay.
Anything else that you guys see? I know that Michelle doesn't need to sign them. It would just be,
That's all I saw.
Okay.
do you have any corrections? Just that, I'll just omit public health
Public health
nurse.
nurse
Yep.
Kathy Ryan. Yep.
And then I'll have them ready for when you come back from executive session.
Okay, so a motion to hold off on approving the minutes for the March 22, 2022 meeting until after we reconvene for the open session after executive.
I'll make a motion to table the minutes for the March 23rd meeting.
Okay. All those,
March
second?
22nd.
Yep.
March 22nd. Well,
Oh, it says
then
March
it's wrong.
23rd.
It says
So the
March
date-
23rd.
I thought it says March 22nd on my agenda. Wouldn't,
It says March 22nd on the agenda
I'll
and
fix
March
that too.
23rd.
I'll figure it out.
On the minutes.
Jeez, Janine. I'm blaming her.
One more thing, you should get the spelling of Michelle's last name too, up top.
Well, she wasn't at this meeting.
Oh, okay. But up top, you see where her name is listed? I think there should be another N.
Yeah, 2 Ns.
Kennedy.
And on what?
Okay.
On the agenda?
On the agenda, where it says member at the top.
Oh, it's 2 N's? All right, sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, well, I'll fix that going forward, because that's how I have it spelled everywhere, right? How's the signature sheets look? Is it spelled right?
Yes,
The
the permits are.
bills, no. Yeah, the abatements,
It's not
It's
spelled
not,
right? All
no.
right. Going forward,
but the permits is,
okay.
yes,
Permits that's because.
is spelled correctly, yep. All right.
Sorry about that,
Michelle.
Anything that's wrong, I did it. I just blame them two.
Okay.
Amy's next.
All
What
right.
is this on the food inspection? Pet has hair, not fur?
I note it on there. She does have a dog that does not have access to it.
Okay.
And I just note that it is a pet that has hair,
Hair.
not fur. For people that have allergies or whatever
Okay.
purposes.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings us to COVID-19 updates. So Kathy Ryan, it's all you.
So last time I was here was in February, we talked about how our COVID-19 numbers were actually going down because of the home testing that, people are doing, the residents are doing.
Thank you.
And those home tests aren't reported to the state, only the tests where the residents go to the doctor or they go to their hospital or a clinic. So last month, we only had 60 cases, which was hardly anything. The last 2 weeks, we've had 53 cases. And so currently, I have 74, 63 adults and 11 children that have had COVID. So we're seeing an uptake, and is it a true seeing of what's going on? No, because we don't know what's happening with the home test. We don't do wastewater surveillance in Rockland, I found out. I actually thought we did, but we don't. It is expensive. I've been trying to get some information on it. This way, if we did something like that, we would know our numbers. We would know. It doesn't tell you who or where. It just tells you whether we have an increase in disease or not.
So for the schools, they have the test kits at home.
Yeah.
If a child tests positive, they call in and say, my child has COVID.
Right.
Does that go to you?
That does not go to
No.
me, but I follow that. So I can get on to all that. So I see all that. So that program, they have about 750 kids in that program, and they get tests every 2 weeks
Yeah.
to take home. When that program started, they were supposed to be testing their child whether they were sick or not. So every Sunday night, you would test all your children. Anybody positive would stay home. Obviously, you call it the nurse. That in the beginning was great. We were having a lot of cases, and a lot of kids are positive that have no symptoms. But that is not happening now. Today I had 2, after vacation and everything else, there were a lot of cases of COVID with students over the vacation. We had 10. But today, they test on Sunday, and they come on Monday. We only had 2 students and 2 staff, which is not really that many. So I have a feeling, and I don't know, I've talked to parents in other communities, not in Rockland. They're saving their tests. They're testing their children when they're sick, which is good too, obviously. But the program is designed to test them all. So Desi will say everything's working great. In Rockland, I don't really think it's working the greatest. And we have 2,300 kids. We only have 750 in the program. So it is tough, but I can see all that, so I follow them. I can look at everything, so I know what's going on in the schools. I email them every day. I email the head nurse what's going, what I have, and I
Right.
never know what's going on.
But
So
that will be part of your numbers though, correct? Or
that is not, no, those are not
That
part
won't
of my
go in it.
numbers.
You
No,
just know it
The
to
only
know it.
ones that I have are the ones that are coming through Maven, which is our surveillance system. So, and those are the ones that do the PCRs, they go get a PCR.
Yeah.
PCRs are always done at the lab, they come through. And then if they go to the doctors and they do their rapids, and then CVS and them do rapids too. So those will all come through. And so like I said, the numbers are really low, but I think our numbers are actually even higher because of the home test. I was talking to somebody the other day and my mother-in-law, this one, they're all positive. They don't get reported to us. Like I said, the school does, only because they have a list, and it was my original document, so I can see it. And so I can see who's been positive. So, again, I figured this week will be the big week because it's vacation. It was last week. We had 24, 25 cases last week. I figured this would be the big week, but I haven't seen too much yet. But it's coming. So the next couple of weeks might be pretty hot, is what I'm thinking. So,
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Kathy?
nope, that's it right now.
Thank
Okay.
you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to move on to new business, and we have Crystal Cameron here, who is the Assistant Superintendent of the Abington Rockland Joint Waterworks, and she's here to talk about the polyfluoroalkyl substances in the water. It's all you.
Is there anything you guys want to know about? I mean, I know we've sent out a lot of mailers to everybody in Rockland. Is there anything specific people are calling and asking you about?
They call me office all week long,
Okay.
and they want information, and we direct them. I actually, I have a little health agent chat that we have, and I sent out an email to all of them and said, what are you guys doing? Are you providing guidance? And the ones that did reply, probably 30, they're like, we just refer them to the water department.
Right.
And that just shows that it's not just Rockland, it's other communities,
Well, yeah.
because it's everywhere.
Right.
And I think that's just one huge thing that people need to know, that it's not just Rockland having an issue, Rockland, Abington.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
So it's actually countrywide. So but we'll talk about Massachusetts. It's across Massachusetts, and it all has to do with present or past industry that takes place. So it can be in the water, but it can also be in things that we use every day. So it's been banned in the United States, but there's still stuff being imported from other countries that do not have this ban. So you got to be careful with the things that you purchase. You have to investigate that. For instance, Teflon pans. If you buy a new set of Teflon pans, you should make sure they're made in the United States. If not, they could have PFAS in them, because Teflon's a huge carrier of PFAS. It was, anyways, back in the day. That's where a lot of it originated from. So firefighting foam, makeup, Scotch Guard, anything that's waterproof, even permanent markers. It's in so much stuff that we use every day, even carpet, flame retardant, pajamas for kids. So, you envision your child, crawling around on the floor, PFAS. It's really not anything that anybody really wants to think about, but it's found its way into the water too. So where is it coming from? I get that question a lot. Having people call the water department, that's what the DEP wants. Not that the Board of Health can't by any means not answer questions, but the way that it's been told to us is it's great to have the same information coming out of the same office, so that Deli might have something to say a certain way, and then I might say it different, and then people might talk, and people might get, upset about someone saying one thing and someone saying another. So what we have is kind of a PFAS team at the water department, where we talk and we know exactly what we say the same stuff, so that everybody gets the same information. It's what we've been talking about, and the DEP is on board with what we have to say too. But it's new to them as well. We were ahead of the curve with everybody in Massachusetts when this first came out. The rule went into effect in January of 2021. We were already testing ahead of time because we knew this was coming. So we wanted to get ahead of the curve so that we could try to get our hands on the materials we needed, because we knew there was going to be a line for supplies. So that's also putting a damper on us being able to move forward with things to correct the problem. Funding is a huge issue to correct the problem as well. So the way that PFAS works is some things in the environment just go away on their own, can be volatile. Aeration can make them, you can aerate something and it can disappear. That's not the way PFAS is. So this is something that stays around. It's called a forever chemical. From an industry that might have been there in the past. There's some theories out there where it's coming from, where it came from. The good thing is Mass DEP has shown interest recently, very recently. Actually, this past week, I met with DEP to start testing spots in Rockland to find out where it came from. So that's huge. Mass DEP doesn't do that, every day. And to have them move this fast on it is excellent. They've already tested spots in Rockland to find out where it came from in our Abington treatment plant. So there's areas in Rockland that they believe it's leading towards our Abington treatment plant as well. So to have them move on this is great news. Honestly, it's the best news we could have. So as far as funding goes, or as far as trying to figure out, epidemiology-wise, where is it coming, where did it come from? So that's great. The way, like I said, it's a forever chemical. It doesn't go away. We have been tasked now to take care of it, get it out of the water. You physically have to remove it. So the way that it's done is, when we first found out about it, I was thinking to myself, oh, we're in good shape. We remove viruses. We remove harmful chemicals, silt, all kinds of stuff out of the water all the time. We should be good. Until they told us, well, PFAS doesn't respond to just any kind of water treatment. There's, hundreds of ways to, treat water every day. If you don't have the technology already in place to remove PFAS, you have to now go out and you have to retrofit your treatment plants to get it implemented, which is now where we're at. Because, of course, we had the worst case scenario. We don't have that treatment in place at the water treatment plant. So we tried a couple short-term solutions to try to hopefully make some headway. It didn't work. We gave our best effort. But the way the regulation works is if you cannot shut your treatment plant down, which is what they prefer, And if you are over the limit of 20 parts per trillion, they would like you to shut your treatment plant down, but we cannot do that. You have to provide another source of water for your residents. So the other source of water, which is in the notices that we've sent out to people, is at the office on 366 Center Ave. That is water coming from our distribution system, but it's coming from a different treatment plant hydraulically than Hingham Street Reservoir in Rockland. It's coming from our Pembroke water treatment plant. We've tested it consistently, and it is below, we've never had readings below, above 7 parts per trillion, so that's great. They're happy with that.
Now that's the sandy bottom.
That's sandy
right?
bottom, yeah.
So now is that where the PFAS is?
No, PFAS is at Hingham Street.
Oh, is that Hingham Street? I mean, all right, so sandy bottom's fine.
Mhm.
And that services one section of Rockland, correct?
So the way that our distribution system is we don't have specific gates where, you know, the water goes to this certain area right here and it's gated off and it doesn't come out. We have what's called an interconnected system, so at any one given time, the water can change directions. We have typical hydraulic flows where we know it goes on a normal, everyday given, you know, time. But, you know, God forbid, which is why we had to send these notices out to everyone. I would love to just be like, people in this area, this is, the notice just goes to you, but it's more of a, you know, covering everybody type of situation. It goes to everyone, even residents in in Abington that don't even get the water had to get this, just because if there was ever a change in directionality, flow, something like that, a you know, catastrophic water main break that changed directionality of the water, and somehow somebody was able to get Rockland water that doesn't typically get it, we had to cover all bases by sending them that notice. So the answer is yes and no. I wish, and I know it doesn't, you know, make everybody all that happy to get that answer, but I can say, you know, I know in my head where the water goes. My colleagues know where the water goes. If someone calls and tells me I live on this street, I could tell you if you get the water most of the time. If I will be completely honest, if it's an iffy gray area, I would say, you know, it's a mix. That's actually a technique that they use to drop the PFAS is mixing. So they take one source that might have, say, you know, X amount of PFAS and another source that's way lower, and they blend and it mixes and they drop it below 20. That's kind of what's happening in the distribution system. If you think about it, you know, Great Sandy Bottom has, you know, PFAS of, it's typically right around 3 or 4, sometimes 5. We did have one higher one that was around 7 and change, but, you know, I typically see 3.5-ish. So you get that source and you blend it with Hingham Street, you know, that's usually right around 20, 21, it's gonna be much lower when it gets out into the system. A lot of people, you know, aren't happy with that explanation, but we completely understand where everybody's coming from. This has been the bane of our existence for the last, you know, year or so. We want it fixed as much as everybody else does. So like I said, we have to go out and we have to go get the treatment to fix the problem. That's where, you know, town meeting comes into play. That $13 million borrowing article is huge. That's what's going to get us rolling. Hopefully it passes, and then we can, you know, make some good strides to fix the problem. We did get it unanimously passed in Abington, so we're just waiting for the other half, and then we'll get moving. But we are, you know, working hand in hand, right, you know, with the DEP. We're, you know, going with the letter of the regulation. Everything is to the regs, so, you know, we are on a time limit with this, so they could say, you know, shut the source down, or they could fine us daily because we're operating under a non-compliance right now. But having that other source of water is, you know, the DEP takes that into consideration and they say, you know, that's acceptable for now. However, you know, we all want it fixed. So.
Now, a lot of questions that we get is, is the water safe to drink?
I drink it every day.
Yeah, I mean, the DEP will say if you have a compromised immune system, they recommend not drinking water with PFAS in it that's over 20 parts per trillion. So if you...
But like 5 years ago, if I was to put my water and drink it from the tap,
Right.
it's okay.
It was
the
then.
same,
It's the same, so what happened was they changed the regulation.
I'm
is what-
leaving.
Is really what happened. So, we were operating under a 70 parts per trillion regulation, and then Massachusetts, every state is different. So Vermont is lower, there's other states that are higher. The federal limit is 70 parts per trillion, Massachusetts is 20. So, it doesn't sound like the feds are going any lower, anytime soon.
And what are we
Okay.
operating at?
What's our current level? Right now, we're not in, they don't like to say not in violation. There's technicality on that. So right now, our last quarterly average, so that's how it's calculated. So we take 3 months and we average it, was 20, so it was right at the limit.
And what do you think is the cause of that?
I can't say personally. There are ideas out there for what the assumption is, but there's local industry around that, and still, the air base has been brought up, Boston Whaler's been brought up.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize. I think you misunderstood. So what is the reasoning for the PFAS dropping? Because the last quarter, it wasn't at 20.
It's just, honestly, it's whatever the reading is. So, we're hovering right around in that range. So it could be maybe that we have the reservoirs filling up and it's getting diluted a little bit more, but there really isn't any reason for it. It's just, it could be an inconsistent sample. We did have that problem in, quarter 4, but really, honestly, we've been pretty consistent, for the most part. If you get one high reading that just, happens to be, like in September, we had a 29.52, which brought the average up higher to 24 for the quarter. But then the following quarter, we had 20, and the following quarter after that was 22. So, 20 also. There isn't any rhyme or reason as to why.
Okay.
If the industry was, in my opinion, if there was industry that was continuing on and causing the problem presently, I would think that it would be
Increase.
worse, right?
Right.
So I think it's like something that was passed, but like I said, those two points of industry that I mentioned, I'm not saying that that's where I think it came from, just to put it out there. It is a hypothesis of some people, theory, whatever.
Would the elevated PFAS levels, I know a lot of people, like, for example, they'll do their laundry and their laundry's like stained. Is that from an elevated PFAS level?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. Stain as in brown?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's iron.
Yep,
Iron,
Okay.
manganese from the pipes. So, you have old pipes. It's, if you think about it, we're an old part of the country. Infrastructure's old. We can only replace so many pipes, it costs millions of dollars to replace the pipes, but that's most likely what needs to happen. If people call us and tell us that they are having rusty water, it could be a water main break, it could be, someone opened a hydrant to do, street sweeping, things like that. If it's a constant problem, we welcome the call. We'll go out and try to figure out what's going on. We do flush twice a year too to kind of remedy the problem. So, but if the age of the water main just continues on and it's a constant problem, it kind of comes on our hit list to be, on the replacement list. Myrtle Street, for instance, was a huge problem for a while. We did replace that whole area, and we don't get complaints anymore in that area. So. You're talking old cast iron main where the deposits of, mineral deposits will stick to the inside of the main and then eventually break off, so.
And how safe or unsafe is that?
Is
The iron.
mineral deposits?
Yeah.
It depends, I would have to see it. It's kind of a case-by-case basis, but, it's not leaving the treatment plant like that, I can guarantee that, so.
Right, so it's getting
dirty
access
glass.
through the pipes themselves.
It's a dirty glass syndrome type thing, so, what's leaving the treatment plant is close to like a non-detect.
Okay.
So, what travels through the distribution system, it's an old system. So, we go out and we help people, we'll flush their service line, which is what connects their house to the street. That sometimes will help. Sometimes there's mineral deposits in an old line. Other times it's, they live on a dead-end street, which a lot of times that can cause taste and odor problems, that can cause rusty water. We can go out and open up a hydrant really slow and kind of try to clear that line in that sense. But when you open a hydrant, if you think about it, it's a pressurized system. The second you open a hydrant, it's going to screw up down the street. So we prepare that way. It's not something we'd like to do all the time unless we're, completely ready to flush that whole area. But we'll do it if we have to.
Okay, so can I just ask to just remind people what they should do
Sure.
at this point to, help with that problem? And just to remind people again that this is because they lowered the standard.
Right,
That's so this amount has always been in our water, yes?
Yep.
But now it's just because the standard is lower that we need to send out this information to the
Absolutely.
public.
Yep,
Okay.
so the standard used to be 70 parts per trillion. We did test for that, and we did come under the 70 parts per trillion. That was years ago. So the Mass DEP decided to set their own limits, which was lower than the 70 parts per trillion to 20. And as soon as that enacted, it obviously causes us to have to take action on that. We do not have the treatment already in place to remove the PFAS, so now we have to retrofit the treatment plants to do that. So it's not anything that the water department did, but it's something that the water department will take care of. I
Right.
promise you that. It's not, something that we're happy about either. So it's not something we like to hear the residents are upset about, but, we're gonna take care of the problem. It will take time. It's not something that's gonna happen overnight. We're talking retrofitting a whole treatment plant. We're basically building a small treatment plant next to our existing treatment plant.
What is the ETA on that?
We're not 100% sure. I mean, we will do a short-term fix to get, things up and running, but the whole long-term, you're talking probably 2 or 3 years, but that's not for the residents to have to stop worrying about the issue. We're looking at something short to try to get an immediate fix to that and then, finish the whole project.
Okay.
So,
And again, just to say, like, what should the residents
so the
do at this
residents,
point?
exactly. So if you have a compromised immune system, the Mass DEP recommends that you not drink the water. So that's something that you would want to talk to your doctor about. If, compromised immune system, that's for you and your doctor to talk about.
Right.
And that's the reason why we send out this information, so everybody can make their own educated decision. And if you don't have a compromised immune system, and going back to the compromised immune system people, you're more than welcome to come over to the water department on 366 Center Ave and get free water at our spigot that is much lower with, PFAS water that's, way lower readings. You're talking anywhere, the level, again, the regulation is 20 parts per trillion, and on average, I would say it's about 4 or 5, possibly even 3 at that, which is great. I mean, it's coming from a treatment plant where the Mass DEP isn't even looking at needing treatment, naturally, so that's great. If you do not have a compromised immune system, that is up to you, what you would like to do. You can drink the water, you don't have to drink the water, that's completely up to you. This is more of a bioaccumulation type of situation in our bodies. All of us have it, not from the water, from the water. So, it's something that isn't like an immediate threat that will, all of a sudden, you're gonna get sick. It's not like a bacteria event, it's not anything like that. It's something that, you should be mindful of, 70 years down the road. So it's a bioaccumulation in our bodies. Like I said, it's a forever chemical that doesn't go away.
Can I ask a quick question? So what about the notices that people received were not to cook with it, not to, what about that?
That is the same scenario. So it's, if you have a compromised immune system.
Okay, I didn't realize the notices said compromised immune system, did they?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, I apologize, I was,
No, it's fine.
overlooked
And
it.
if,
Okay.
I mean, if people, are healthy and they don't feel as though they, have a compromised immune system, you can,
Okay.
The Mass DEP doesn't take a stance on it either way because they're not health professionals, so they will not
Makes
recommend
sense.
it. So therefore, I can't either. So, but you know, you can make your own educated decision on that
Okay.
as far as, but, you know, there's been questions about, can I shower in it?
Yes.
Yes, you can, you know, that comes into play up at like 200 parts per trillion. That becomes an issue then. I read an article on that. So I did change the last couple mailers that we sent out so that we included that information. You know, you don't realize what people are gonna ask until they ask it. So,
Right.
once we got a lot of those, comments, we included that. And the boiling the water thing is, it does not go away with boiling the water. If anything, people say, oh, it multiplies. It doesn't multiply it, but all it does is, if you have like 5 PFAS in your hand and you have, you know, water, and you boil the water, it's gonna evaporate. You're gonna have less water in your cup that's in your hand, and then you're still gonna have the 5 PFAS in there. So, it just removes more water from the system, from your container, and now you have more concentrated PFAS, you know,
Okay.
than the water that you had. So. less
But just to
water.
understand, because a lot of the issues I hear are, oh, it's brown water, it turns my laundry a different color, it smells bad. It sounds like none of those are attributed to increased levels in the PFAS.
That's something totally
Okay.
different. That's aesthetic stuff that if people, you know, I understand that's an issue. We have an old distribution system. It's not anything that is coming out of the treatment plant looking like that. So, you know, when you have a water main break or something, you know, when that's why we flush to, you know, try to get that stuff off the mains. But some mains are just so old that it doesn't really do anything
Okay.
for that. Just replacing the mains is really gonna be the best thing for us to do, and it's gonna be, you know, like I said, a case by case on our hit list on what's the worst part of towns. But if people call and they let us know, which we do get quite a bit, and we go out and, you know, we keep track of it, and we'll go to people's homes and sample and give them back their results, and then we kind of attack the problem step by step. Usually, you know, the samples first, the flush, you know, your service line could possibly be second, and then flushing the area would be, you know, like I said, last, because we don't want to disturb the whole system without doing a full, you know, system flush.
Okay.
That's usually the way that we attack that problem.
Great, thank you, Crystal. Does anybody have any other questions?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So when you were talking about the PFAS and the people that have uncompromised immunities, right? So do you guys go and test to see if they have high PFAS, or it's just you
No.
think you might
So
just
if
come get water?
Right, so if what we do is we test at our entry point to the system. So when it leaves the treatment plant, when it goes out into the distribution system, that's where we test. So it's what we're responsible for coming out of the treatment plant.
Oh.
Yep.
So what about, so we don't even know, we're not testing water at the point of consumption?
No.
Oh.
So at your home,
Yeah.
no, not for PFAS, no.
Could it be in the pipes? No?
I mean, I wouldn't say that, I'm not actually sure about that. So if it was.
I would say no
something
more
that
than
would-
it was before.
Yeah, so something
So
that
it's
could
not,
adhere
you know what I
to-
mean?
I mean, it's a possibility. I would say if it somehow adhered to the metals that, that might have deposited on the pipes, possibly, but, I mean, the brown water, the taste and odor, that is separate from the PFAS. It's usually two different problems.
No, but what I'm saying is a lot happens to water between the time it leaves the plant and it arrives at the home.
Right.
So, out of curiosity, why wouldn't they test at the point of consumption?
Residents can test.
Okay.
You know, it's a pretty costly test. It's about,
Okay.
you know, in the very beginning, it was thousands of dollars for us to test. So the way that we work, as soon as we test a site, it becomes something that we, you know, is a DEP thing. There's so many things that can come into play with testing a site that we can't get into that as far as like residents go. We're just responsible for what leaves the treatment plant.
Makes sense.
And just to
you know.
clarify, DEP is Department of Environmental Protection?
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
I just want to make sure that people understand DEP, because.
Right.
No, it's okay. I mean, I want to make sure I understand what
Right.
you're saying. Okay.
Now, do you
Um,
suggest, oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Do you suggest the residents or even that or food establishment get any particular kind of filters? Does that help?
I personally cannot recommend filters. I've been told I can't. However, there are filters out there that, that if you go on the Mass DEP website, there are filters out there that you can purchase. You need to do your due diligence and look at to what degree does it remove PFAS too. So you can call a filter company, and you gotta keep in mind they're out to make money. So, oh yeah, of course our filters remove PFAS, but to what degree? Is it the 70, parts per trillion, the federal level, which most of them are? Or is it the Massachusetts level of 20? It's gonna be pretty hard to find one that does the 20. But they're out there, and they're expensive, but, to some people it's worth it. We're hoping to have this taken care of, shortly, within the next year or so, as far as a short-term fix. I'm hoping.
Now, what is getting approved, or that you're looking to get approved at town meeting?
So it's a borrowing article of $13 million. That's half of the project. The other half was from Abington, $13 million, so $26 million article total. We have to build a whole treatment plant, and one of our other treatment plants in Abington also has it, and we already have filtration in place. We just stumbled upon it and found out that we were trying to get another well online, and when you do that, you have to do, pump flow tests, and you have to test for a bunch of different things, and PFAS was one of them because this was a new thing now. So the level was the limit anyways, and when we tested for it, it came back higher than the limit, so we luckily did not have the plant up and running, so we were able to retrofit the plant and get that up and running. But we need to, get that final plan in place. Right now, it's kind of under what we call a pilot study plan.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
I hope
Learned a lot about
Okay.
water.
So, yeah. So the bottom line is that if anybody has any questions further from that, I mean, that was a good discussion. Thank you for all the information. Please call the water department.
Right.
Please don't forward that information to the Board of Health at
Right.
this point, so that the appropriate answers can be given and it can be consistent information that's
Right.
given across the board.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay? Thank you very much for your time.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to move on to the health agent report.
And it's kind of small in the grand scheme of things. I was rushing today. I finished in the nth hour. So it's just a reminder to all the Rockland residents that we will be providing vouchers on May 16th, 2022. Residents can come, they need to show proof of ownership of the home, and they get a $25 voucher per unit, which they can use that money towards disposing of items at the recycling center that are charged. You cannot use the voucher to pay for your sticker. At the same time, on May 16th, we'll be doing the new sticker color, green. Registrations are required. Curbside residents can get 2 stickers for $10. Private residents that have a private service, either a multifamily condo or an apartment building, they pay $20, and they can dispose of their recycling for free. And that is the difference between the two charges. I just lost my train of thought. So I don't know if you have any questions regarding the vouchers or the stickers.
And those vouchers you're going to sell them through,
We don't sell the vouchers, we give them out.
so you're going to be handing those out.
May 16th until the end of September?
August 3rd.
August 3rd.
Okay.
So they're available from now to the end of August, and then they're valid to the end of December.
Okay. And it's good for up to $25.
Yes, per unit. So if a landlord has, a two-family, they get $50. But the landlord has to come and get it. And they also have to make sure that their account is paid in full, is
Okay.
current. Any questions on the stickers? And I will say, unfortunately, I did not put the amount of money that we received from fiscal year '22 for the stickers, but it actually did get us an extra grinding out of it. So we've got $8,000 out of it, and out of that money for the grinding, and then that $4,000 bill that you just paid for, that also is coming from the sticker money. So it's a benefit, and it's improving the recycling center, which I hold dear to my heart. We don't know that. Sorry, I just get a little. I had a guy come in the other day, and he just raved about it. He just couldn't believe how far that recycling center's come. And again, I think the residents. Sorry, I'm being. So that's, I think, the residents for a lot of that, because they pass articles that I've submitted to get it up to a good place to go, I guess. Remind residents another thing that I just started is that residents can actually call the office and request that their bill be emailed rather than mailed and mailed. Some people travel or whatever, and they would rather get an email. It's been taking till the 15th of the month. That's an exaggeration, but the 10th of the month, people are receiving their trash bills. I have them loaded right when I send them, so if they want it before it gets in the mail, I can email it to them. So far, I think we have about 3 people signed up. Not bad.
It'll save money in the future if a lot more people
Are
sign
you
up for it.
manually sending them, or is that a system,
No,
is
we
that
just
part of
email
the?
it. We just PDF it, and
No, meaning what I mean is you're actually physically going in and sending it. It's not part of the system that we use?
no.
Okay. Is that an option?
I wish I did. No, that's why.
Okay.
So that's what I got out of that. I did do some research with other mailing companies, and we got an offer that is about almost $3,000 cheaper a year than what we're paying now currently. I just have to do the final steps with Eric Crenshaw, the interim town accountant, just to confirm. This company is also the same company that the tax collector uses and the assessor uses for their bills.
The less 3,000 or the one we're currently using?
The one that is less than 3,000 is the one that the tax collector uses and the assessor use. So it's close to $3,000 cheaper a year. And that's with postage, and that's with the paper and the envelopes. We're not doing any return envelopes. That people just don't use them. So we're saving there. I don't even think they do that now. But another thought I thought of is possibly another cost savings. And it probably won't happen fiscal year '23, July. I wouldn't be ready for it, but a thought to maybe do billing twice a year, like the real estate bills, have their first and second quarter in one bill, and then they do it that way, and they can pay it all at once, or they can pay each quarter when the quarter's due. Or we could continue to send them out 12 times a year. And that's what we're doing right now. It's time consuming.
So when you go to twice a year, is everybody going to be on the same billing cycle?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that was another thing that I thought of, is putting everybody on the same billing cycle.
What is I'm assuming the reasoning is
A past practice. And,
to try not to overflow the collections?
well, I did reach out to the tax collector just to make sure that this wouldn't be a nuisance to her. And she came back with a few questions and I answered them. And I think that it would work. My problem is that next week I'm doing May billing. So I would have to notify those May people in advance and say, listen, I know you just got billed in May for April, May, and June, but I'm also going to be sending you a bill in July for July, August, and September. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So getting that information out is, we could put it on social media, we can put it on WRPS like we do, we could put it in that memo section. People don't read it.
Yeah.
You're just not going to always get the information out. I've tried postcards and things like that. People don't read it, postcards, But, I'd still put it on the memo section. I just think that, in fairness, another option I thought of would be an interesting thing is to get the residents involved and do like a poll. Do you want your bill sent quarterly? But I don't even know if that's possible. So,
That's all stuff we can kind of
yes.
look into.
And that was just a lead in from, and then I just thought of it on my. I thought you were crying. Was I that boring?
All right, so let's move on.
So that's a new convenient thing that we're offering to the residents, that we can email their bills. I would like to, Cecilia, get to the point where it can be done that way, to people who that request it. April 6th, Dave Taylor had his lacrosse team do litter pickup on Beach Street. And Rockland Cleanup Day is Saturday, April 30th. This Saturday, April 30th. People are meeting at Town Hall at 8:30. Anybody that wants to go and help, they get a good crew going. And of course, we still have an abundance of at-home testing kits available. Residents can come in, show proof of residency, and we give them COVID tests. We've been giving people 4 at a time now because we have so many. A lady had called the other day asking if I could mail her a test because she wasn't feeling good. And I was like, I'll drop one off. So I sent a little care package. I dropped her off a thermometer, a couple COVID tests, some hand sanitizer, and a mask, because she just did not sound well on the phone. But, so we still have them available and people can come and get them.
Awesome. Any questions about any of that? No. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is for the board to, for executive session, to discuss a strategy relating to threatened litigation by an employee pursuant to General Laws C-3A, Section 21A2. So do you have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we will, we'll be going downstairs for the executive session, and then we will return back here afterwards to reconvene. Everybody good? Power's back on?
Power's back on.
All right, so
Reconvene.
I would like to reconvene the Board of Health meeting for April 22nd, 2022. It is now 8:27 p.m. So we are going to continue for the reconvening to reorganize the board. and for signature authority designation. So we need to discuss reorganization of the board. I don't need a motion for that, right?
You do.
Motion to reconvene?
Well, no, you already, no, you don't need a motion
I
to
don't need a
reconvene.
motion to
No,
reconvene.
you just
Okay.
reconvene.
Okay. So, all right, so I would like to ask the other board members if they have any discussion.
In regards
about
to the reorganization of the board?
Of the board, yep.
Yeah, so I think that we collectively need to move forward together. That's the only way this is going to work. I've had a rough time the last year where every single agenda item I've asked for has been denied. It has not been put on the agenda. Essentially making me useless here. I look forward, hopefully, to the opportunity to be the chair and be able to all work together and never tell anybody no to any agenda item. We're all elected. Everybody has their viewpoint, everybody has their reasons for serving on this board, and their voices should be allowed to be heard and not suppressed. With that being said, yeah, I'd appreciate your vote to be chairman.
Did you nominate yourself, or can I nominate you? I nominate Cecilia.
So we have a motion to nominate Cecilia. Do we have a second?
Can I say something before that?
Yes.
Before you guys vote, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
As far as being chairman, on a weekly basis, from 8:30 to 4:30, I will need you to be coming into the office, so to sign payroll weekly, has to be signed, and submitted every Monday by 10 a.m. So I usually have it finished on Thursdays, so 8:30 to 4:30.
Okay, so I could sign on Fridays?
Would you be between 8:30 and 4:30?
I could make that happen if it's once a week.
But remember, in July, starting July 1, right, Fridays are closed?
Yeah.
I can make it happen. It just can't be Mondays.
It would have to be either like payroll's always ready Wednesday, always ready.
That's fine. I
Like
can make it
today, like when we have meetings, it'll be ready for you on Tuesday. And the only thing that would ever change if somebody went out sick, it would never change the fee, if you will, like the bottom total. The only thing that would change would be the worksheet, and I sign that.
Now, the whole board doesn't have to sign the payroll?
Nope.
Okay.
That the signatural sheet is underneath. I can say that, and I know we want to all move forward. One of the main things of, in the past, the last person, so Christine, is up next year. So it's always been to give everybody that opportunity to be the chairman. But again, a motion was made, it was seconded, and
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying, absolutely. And
yeah.
normally I would agree.
Normally.
But like I said, in the past year, I haven't had one agenda item added to the agenda that I've requested, so I'm not willing to risk.
So that's
that-
why you want to be the chair? Is that why you want to be the chairman?
I want to be the chair so that I can be fair. And I can listen to everybody up here. And,
And me?
I'm sorry?
And me?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
I don't believe that any one person up here should matter more than the other. I don't believe that even as chair, I would have the right to tell either one of them, no, we're not going to put that item on the agenda. They've been elected. It's their right.
Okay,
That's how I feel.
okay.
And honestly, I'm a little bit skeptical. So for me, the only way to guarantee that that happens, in my mind, is to be the chair.
Anybody have anything else to say? Okay. I will refrain from saying anything at this point. So we have a motion on the floor for Cecilia DeRosa to be chairman. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chris, are you not in favor?
I am not in favor. But we have 2 against 1, so we will move on. Okay.
Vice Chair?
Vice chair. So,
Now, in the event that Cecilia cannot be here to sign something, because I know that your job is pretty much demanding, and you're there all the time, just remember, if anybody can, the vice chair would step in.
okay. Do we have any motions for vice chair?
Does anybody, do either of you want it?
I nominate you, Christine.
I like that.
That's, I would say, a smart move.
I
yeah.
second it.
Wow. good.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody's in favor.
Okay. And then Michelle Kennedy would be listed as our...
With 2 N's.
With 2 N's, would be listed as our member.
Now, Michelle, I know that Cecilia likes her middle initial. Do you have a preference?
No, middle
All right.
initial, please.
All right.
Why?
Okay, so... So this is the signature for authority designation, so Cecilia will sign for this one and print name and signature, and then Michelle, you'll go underneath member.
And then we'll sign that again in July for fiscal year '23.
Okay. All right, does anybody have anything else? Okay, that concludes our meeting, or does Cecilia adjourn?
I'd like to entertain a motion to end this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.